What is up, winning team? Hi guys. I wanted to do a video about what it really means to suffer for the kingdom. Or to carry your cross every day. I should really find the scripture, but I really can't be bothered. I'm gonna get into that in a second. So anyway, also you guys can do your due diligence. um. So I've been getting ready. Well, I've been mentally having so many revelations from the Lord. I've got a whole new list of another whole bunch of another whole like angle of things to share about what we need to understand about the spiritual world, as far as the world, particularly coming back to Hollywood. I've done videos about selling your soul and all this. I finally understand what that means on a deeper level than already. I actually currently have a Selling Your Soul playlist if anybody wants to check that out. But I just got an even deeper revelation, like literally just now, last night when I was, again, unable to sleep. Always when I'm unable to sleep, I was having even more revelations about just how certain things are being done, even when it comes to the racial issues, and how that's being played against us, and just basically all this understanding of what's going on in the kingdom of darkness. And I'm thinking, this is insane, because this is insane. Like, I don't know how I got here. I don't know why me. And that's just the funny part of it, right? When I think now about the context of suffering as a believer, I think there's this misunderstanding. Sorry guys, if I sound really low, yeah, it's because I'm bloated, and that's actually what's bothering me, because I'm like, again, I'm here fighting for my life, for the kingdom, right? Because at 1 minute last week I was on my period, I couldn't sleep as well. And I'm thinking, at least when it's over, it's coming over, but now I'm really bloated. And again, it's just this new symptom I've developed. So I realized just a few minutes ago that, yeah, I haven't fully just been freed of this curse of Eve thing, because my symptoms from having a womb have gotten worse. It's like the week before you have the whole build up, right, of all these different symptoms. Again, some of it's and the bloating is actually worse. This is actually the worst, you guys, like, because I can feel the air all over my body, in my chest, in my back, in my stomach, and it's hard to move, because every time I move it feels like all this sharp pain. And yes, I try all the remedies of all the things to do with the bloating, and I do them, but it still happens. And it's still just another thing to manage on the list, another thing to just endure through. And like I said, it just never stops with the womb things. It's like a constant roller coaster. It's absolutely exhausting. So yeah, I'm trying not to move too much, because it actually hurts, and it even hurts just to just hurt. That's why I was actually struggling to sleep last night. It wasn't even because of the spiritual battle. It was because I was in so much pain from all the bloating and trying to get rid of it, that the pain was waking me up, and that's what happened. Oh, it's horrible. So I'm burst into tears, just now with the Lord, because I was just like, God, when does it stop? The suffering of it all, because that's just another thing on the list of all the other things I've been telling you guys about. And that's and the reason why it's happening like that is because I am like tirelessly, like relentlessly trying to give myself to the Lord and to the Lord's plan, right? So all of these little things, because one of the things I was going to talk about to do with selling a soul, which you'll come to hear about that in a separate video. This is just me getting my feelings out. Do you see how I do this? This is why I'm saying I feel like I'm a healthier person. Rather than make all the videos while I'm in my emotions, but get my emotions out now, so that I can be clear-headed for the actual content. This is what I do. This is how I do it. The first video is usually the tired, stressed, my dreams. And then the other ones are the more coherent videos, because I think that's what I've said to you guys. There's no use us ignoring and pretending things are not affecting us. If we address it, we can release it. It no longer has any power over us, and we can move on, right? So yeah. So one of the things I've been realizing, especially when it comes to our bodies, you know, and the Holy Spirit, and I'm going to touch on this more in the upcoming videos, is that, you know, when we, as humans, we have all these things that we say and we assume, like, you know, like with aging, that as you get older, all this stuff happens. You know, like I'm saying, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, getting older does suck because I keep developing more and more symptoms. You know, just for the simple fact of having a womb, just for being a woman, just from getting older. You know, you hear older people talk about the aches and pains, the this, the that. But I've realized that what a lot of this stuff actually is, by the way, when you're a believer, some of it is genuinely part of the enemy trying to keep you under attack, because it was taking me hours. I should have really been recording these videos at like 4 in the morning when I first woke up the first time. But it's like nearly 12 now. I still feel tired. My back is hurting. And it's another one of those, of course, it's the timing of it. The short bit of time, you know, because of my job, I don't really do much work during the summertime. So that's why I've been honing in on taking advantage of doing as many videos. And obviously the whole world would think, oh my gosh, and everyone says, oh, it must be so nice to have a break. Funny, really funny. The break was more easy actually during the school year, because I feel like I had less time to be delving into the things of God, and therefore less of a threat, therefore less of this type of just stuff. And like I said, it's not the bloating itself or whatever, it's or everything compounded together. Are you guys understanding what I'm trying to say here? You know, and that's why I think, you know, this is the significance of me even mentioning to you all that um all this stuff about, you know, my male encounters, because it's like it actually is part of, I feel like, God's help for me. Because while I'm feeling horrific, I'm feeling like I don't even have the energy to like do anything. Why have I rolled out of bed and gone to the thing? It's not that I don't care about my appearance. It's not that I'm not trying. It's I don't have the energy. I'm exhausted. So for me to be so exhausted and so tired and so like just suffering, and then for somebody to make such a lovely compliment, it really does help a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I feel like, thank God, I'm not just like, you know, it's nice. But anyway, so there's that part of the suffering, you know, that the kingdom of darkness will use whatever it takes. Like it took me hours. It's been how many hours that I've been fighting with the Lord? Not fighting with the Lord, but fighting out, like crying out to the Lord. Like what? I can't even do maths now, for flip's sake. 7 hours. Yeah, that's how that works. Yeah, because I woke up around 4, and no, nearly 8 hours, because nearly 12. And this whole entire time, all I've been trying to do is rest. And the reason why I'm struggling to find that rest and it gets worse is because I'm going deeper with the Lord. So, of course, why would the kingdom of darkness want me to be rested? Knowing that my intention is, as soon as I've rested, that's what it is. Because I always be writing out my videos, I always be having my plans. I was thinking about how lazy I've got with my books. And then when I'm finished, how lazy I've got even with writing the songs. Because like last night was another one of those songs. Like I've written like 6 songs, and they just sound different as well. Like I don't know. I'm not even gonna release. You know, some of the songs I've done already. We're not even gonna release those because I feel like I'm in a whole different phase, right? But like I've been hearing them like in my dreams. Like last night, I've been hearing these songs, and then I think they're real songs when I wake up, but then they're not real songs. So then part of the reason I'm not just going back to sleep is like, if I don't sing this song if I don't voice record myself right now, I'm not going to remember this song. And I'm like, but then I'm so tired that like, whereas before I would write the whole song in one take, now I'm just singing like the music of it. I'm just singing the music of it because I'm too tired. I'm just like, oh, I'll come back to write the lyrics one day. And then God earlier was like, when are we going to get to that one day? And I was just like, you know what, God, I hear you. And if that's the case, you're going to need to let me rest. Hence why I feel like he did I did sleep in the end. But like, this is what it's really like. This is what I'm trying to say, guys. Like, you're fighting for your life at every corner. Something else is always coming up, something else to deal with. Like right now, it's the weekend. So that's just my worst case scenario. Everybody's freely out in the world. Everyone's enjoying themselves. So I feel like, you know, as somebody who feels vulnerable in the world anyway, it's just more opportunities, you know, to be taken advantage of. And that is what happens. Like some of the stuff that's been happening that you guys have been seeing is reasons why I don't be going out in sociable hours. It sounds like I just hate people, I feel like, all the time, but it's not, that's not what it is. it's that I'm trying to protect myself. I'm trying to like save myself from being in situations where I have to defend myself and fight so hard to keep up my boundaries and fight so hard to be heard and fight so hard, for the help that I need when I'm already, my battery is already at zero. The only reason that my battery is not at zero when I come onto these videos and when I do certain things is because the spirit of the living God dwells within me. And that's what I realized, is that all of this stuff that we believe about like aging and stuff to do with our bodies, I think that's just all entropy. I don't think it's even as simple as that. I think the closer you get to life, the more alive you become. And again, it becomes an issue for me because, like, look, if you go and look at my older videos, I do look more dead inside in those videos, and you can tell. And in those videos, those are the videos. I remember at the start of my channel, I used to spend an hour and a half doing my hair, my makeup, making sure my hair was perfect, making sure everything, the angle was perfect at the beginning. Now I'm like, hey, if I got on there, I was able to say what I needed to say. That's good enough. Who cares what the state is? The state is. I've just told myself we're never going to get to the point where I'm going to make videos from my actual bed while I'm lying down, because then that's actually going to be a step too far. So at the very least, I can, switch on. But yeah, so that's the truth, because Kingdom of Darkness is going to come after you and going to try and use absolutely anything to stop you doing what God is asking for you to do. Because I was feeling so excited having all these revelations. I'm thinking, okay, good. I'm going to go to sleep early and then I'm going to wake up fresh so I can record this with my full clarity and whatever. Of course the heck the devil doesn't want that to happen. Of course not. It took me everything within me to dig deep and decide I was going to record videos anyway. Because I was crying, but I was like, I have to do it, because that's what we do. We fight back. And I was thinking, now I'm really in it. Like, when we even Jezebel, this wasn't a joke. Like, I think people thought it was all a joke. I was saying about Jezebel and us coming after each other. It's not a joke. None of this is a joke. It's very serious. And the reason you don't realize that is because you're not a threat. And you think that Christianity has always got to be comfortable. Listen, Christ told us that if he suffered, so will we. And the sufferings he had should be the signs of the sufferings we will have also. You see what I'm saying? And so, there's that. But obviously, I want to also just mention the other part, because the other part is that, obviously, the reason I am just like trying to go as deep and as quick as possible is because I know that once I say everything that needs to be said and it's all out there, then the devil can't really do anything. Then I can finally rest. And that's why I'm partying for the rest of my life. That's why I'm going to be the life of the party once I'm done. So I'm getting this stuff out as soon as possible. I'm being as submissive to the Lord as possible. I'm sacrificing everything, all of my relationships, all of my opportunities. I'm not putting anything outside of the Lord, because I'm like, let me just get my suffering done in this short period of time, and then I will be thriving in the promised land, and enjoying the rest of my life. So, that's my driving force that keeps me going, is like, it's just another day. If I do it, get up, make the videos, get up, do this. So now I've got to get serious about finishing these books as well. I've got to get serious about writing lyrics to these songs and actually making these songs actually happen. I've got to get serious, so that I can just, the songs are slightly less important in that aspect, because that's actually something that, I want to just kind of really spend time working on, like the actual skill of it all, and doing vocal training, because that's the other thing. These are the things that fall to the wayside because I'm here busy being distracted. People are like, oh, you should do this, you should really. And my friend was like, yeah, you gotta start taking vocal lessons. I'm like, do you think I have the energy to even Google right now vocal lessons locally? I don't have the energy to do that. Right? I don't have the energy. I don't have the energy to think about so many of the things people are thinking about. Like, I don't have the energy to argue something. I don't have the energy even for drama. I don't have the energy. So anyway, there's that. But then there's the other side of it, right? Which is that, the entropy of it all. Because our everything, not the Bible, the law of entropy states that the universe, the whole universe as a system, right? And I'm not going to get into open, closed, isolated system definitions. I may have done that in the God versus Science video. I don't know that I did. But as a system, our whole universe, so that's everything in it, is always moving closer to disorder. So that's what I believe is actually happening when it comes to aging, is that your body, more things are happening because our body's just becoming more disordered. We're just getting closer to death, so more things are just dying and dying off. And again, it explains exactly why the kingdom of darkness needs to use what to get their power? The children. Why? Because they are in the state where they are the least far from death, at least, And so that's why their blood is the most valuable, and that's why their bodies are the most valuable, and that's why their spirits are the most valuable, because they are the most life, they have the most life in them, or at least the most potential for life. Just like I'm saying for me, hey, if I can get through this, I do have my whole life ahead of me, and I will actually have more of my life enjoyed than I would have suffered. So it kind of is worth it as well, even just from that standpoint. But anyway, so a lot of these things that we say and believe, like thinking back to Abraham and Sarah, like for Sarah, she's like, as far as the world is concerned, when she gets older, she can't have kids. You know what I mean? She can't have kids. Her biological clock is finished with. Also, on another note, we'll talk about men actually have a biological clock as well. And actually, the later men have kids does affect the children. Just like how, it's the male DNA that builds the placenta. And just like how the health of men there's a direct correlation between how healthy a man is and the symptoms women experience in pregnancy. But we're not going to get into that today. But yeah, like, she's worried, thinking this doesn't work. God's like, listen, you're not in that kingdom. You're not like a slave to entropy. You're not a slave to entropy. Listen, I created life. I picked up dust off the ground and I breathed into the man. Life, myself. You think that it matters, your age. You think that matters. That's why I said, look, listen, well, now that I'm seeing these symptoms, I'm not just going to be a slave to entropy. We're getting rid of the curse of Eve. Listen, if it's not all gone, and this is why I'm here in pain, listen, we're getting rid of it. I'm getting rid of that curse because I'm no longer a slave to entropy. I'm no longer, a victim to whatever happened with Adam and Eve, just like I said about everything else in our way of living. You know what I mean? Because one of the things, can I tell you, that I think about sometimes, I talk to these lovely gentlemen who are prepared to literally move mountains and do anything and everything for those of us, the lovely patriarchy, we love them. At least the good ones, right? Is I think to myself, you haven't actually presented a solution because, like, I don't want to watch the man I love breaking his back every day. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, do you know what I mean? If I love somebody, I don't want to see you having to do 15 hours and see you, like sweating. Because this is what I'm thinking about when I'm seeing these guys. I'm thinking, you just worked 7 a.m. till 4 p.m. and then now you've worked all the way till 11 p.m. all just to come and see me and still do everything for me. I'm looking at your face and your face is like, stressed, you're whatever, but you're still so pleasant to be around. I'm like, I appreciate that, and that is so touching that that's a possibility, yeah. But at the same time, like, I don't want that for you guys. That's the curse of Adam right there. That's the curse of Adam. Like, that's not what the Lord had intended. This is why I'm like, we got to get rid of all these curses. The problem is I don't know exactly how, but what I do know is that if I at least stay the course and say the things that the Lord is asking for me to say, or at least say what I feel like, contribute to you guys what I feel like, as the captain of the winning team, what you guys need to know, then at least I'm doing the best that I can to help us to get there. But that's why I'm obsessing over these things, because I'm like, it's not good enough. And it makes me sad every single time I see just another man doing all these crazy things, doing everything. Like, you won't lift a finger, it's important to me that I do this, and it's important to me. And I'm just like, that is so nice and lovely. And actually that makes me even more sad to see how much you have to actually do in this life to survive. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like it's all a part of the entropy of it all. That's what it is. So anyway, there's the suffering side of it, and also just the other suffering. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's the other part of me that actually suffers, because like hearing these stories all over again and again and again, seeing a lovely gentleman just smiling at you, you know what I mean? After literally having broken their back for everything, for us women and children, you know what I mean? Doing all these things that they do, it breaks my heart as well. That's another form of the suffering for me. Just like it is being a woman and realizing how much we just endure in our bodies and we just get on with. No wonder we're insane. No wonder we're heinous. I was just thinking about this just now. I was like, no wonder we're freaking heinous. Like, you see when people get tortured and they lose their minds? That's what it feels like. It feels like being tortured. Like having a womb is like being tortured. No wonder we lose our freaking minds, because anybody would lose their mind under a certain degree of torture. You know, unfortunately, this is where the patriarchy haven't been great in actually realizing just how bad it actually is. And that's what I've been thinking about, because especially because now we're all in the season of birth control and whatnot, the years of birth control, which again, ironically, they made a male birth control. Only 3% of the people with the male birth control symptoms were having a headache. Our birth control as women is so extensive, increased chances of cancer, you know, obviously the mood swings, you know, even things like suicidal ideation and stuff can be attached to things like that. Different. This is why even when I used to get the when I was still on the pills, I was on the combination pill, right, the estrogen progesterone one, and I remember that, you know, I'd always have to get my weight checked and my blood pressure, because there's a higher risk with taking the pills of me getting this and this and this. And so they have to make sure that my blood pressure and my weight isn't past a certain amount. Otherwise, I can't take the combination pill, which it was my preferred method. Because again, when I'd be going through these things and I'd be stressed like I was last week, I'll just skip that little, that week of when you take the placebo ones, or you just don't take any. I would just skip, because that's what I could do, courtesy of the world and the devil, of course, the pharmaceutical industry. I could just skip my period. Oh, do I miss that? I've been thinking about that. For that alone, I've been feeling tempted to go back on birth control. For that alone. But then, again, that's what reminded me, like, no, I'm a child of the Most High God. I'm suffering like this because I'm actually quite close as a woman to my default settings, because of how little pharmaceuticals I have running through my veins, and also being so close with the Lord. I should be going to the Lord, like, God, we need to break this, because that's all a part of entropy anyways. And of course, that's what the world does, is the world has, like, you know, its own counterfeit solutions that are not really solutions, because like I said, the birth control thing is crazy, and drives us crazy as well. Like, the side effects can be so extreme. And again, also changes the type of men we're interested in. That's been the most interesting of things, because yeah, that has been one of the most interesting of things, because yeah, I really realized that I really have really changed the type of man I'm actually interested in completely. It's kind of scary to think about. And again, because back to my factory sayings. So then when I'm looking for a solution, I should be going to the Lord, but you guys get the gist of what I'm saying here. And I'm just realizing that, wow, like, we have fallen far, and far have we fallen. And that's why, again, like I said, we must suffer for the sake of the kingdom. It's not because we are, God just wants us to be in pain or something, or picking up our cross, but it's because we're literally in a system. We're literally living in a world that is operating in the exact opposite direction to us. They are going this way. They're going to the left. We're going to the right. You see what I'm saying? They're going to the left. Everything's going left in the world. But we're going to what's right. And because we're going to what's right and we're going against the current, there's going to be a resistance. There's going to be a suffering. There's going to be issues and things we're going to face. And that's why we have to pick up our cross every day. That's why I'm starting to realize the fact that a lot of Christians just cruise along in life and just, you know, seem to be kind of all right, and look at me like I'm crazy for always saying I'm going through things. I'm like, you're crazy for thinking that your life is going to be that so simple. You're crazy for thinking that your sufferings, because sometimes that's what we do, we think we're suffering. And that, like, for me, I'm only realizing it now. I always just assumed my whole life until literally like last year, everything that happened to me I deserved. So everything that was happening to me was because I deserved it. And I was also kind of told that, to be honest, in a lot of ways. Everything that was happening to me throughout my whole life, I deserved it. So it's only now that I'm entertaining the idea that maybe I didn't deserve it. So I'm like, so why is it happening? And that's what's making me realize that it's not that I've been deserving, it's that I've been suffering for the dedication I've been trying to have with the Lord for the kingdom, and for coming up against entropy, for the resistance of it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know, it's worth it, because like I said, you know, we suffer a little. It's like doing it's like doing a workout at the gym, right? In the midst of it, you can't really be bothered, right? You can't really be bothered to be doing the workout maybe a lot of the time, because a lot of people, anybody who's ever been consistent with training in the gym knows that it's not about motivation, it's about commitment, right? Like me right now, I'm not motivated, I'm committed, right? And again, the world system doesn't understand the concept of commitment whatsoever. Hence why the state of everything of affairs, because people don't understand that sometimes once you make a commitment to something, you make a commitment, and it's not about how you feel. Sometimes it's about what you've committed yourself to doing, and that's actually what also proves you to be a person of character. And why I believe, the God says a double-minded man is unstable in his ways in James, because if one minute you're doing things, 1 minute you're in the mood, and 1 minute you're not in the mood, 1 minute you're in the mood, 1 minute you're not in the mood. You just have to commit to things. You just commit. You know what I mean? But again, commitment is something that people in the world are not good at, which for me is something I've always been pretty good at, committing to something. You commit to it, but then because you do, eventually it gets easier, number one, and then eventually also you reap the benefits. You get to go around healthier, feeling better, feeling more confident, because you were willing to commit to suffer for just maybe 30 minutes to an hour and a half, I don't know, 3 to 5 times a week. In the grand scheme of all the hours of the entire week, it's not that bad. But the thing is, as people, we're so addicted to comfortability that it's like we have to be able to, at every moment, any sense of uncomfortability, we don't like. That's why I was like, I hate these stupid social rules, because it's all about basically just never rocking the boat, because people can't handle the slightest amount of resistance, the slightest amount of discomfort. Again, Moses's generation dying in the wilderness, okay? Not him himself, because his issue was a slightly set, but again, him as his commitment, if we're being honest. I can't remember which video I quoted this in, but it was one of the recent ones. You know what I'm saying? What was the problem for Moses? When it came down to, the people overwhelmed him. And this is what I'm taking away from Moses, that the people continued to be exactly how they were. And so then he kind of snapped back, as in because the people couldn't see water anywhere, and they were crying out to Moses. And like I said, guys, I can't be bothered to pick up my Bible to find the scripture for you right now. The fact that I'm sitting here is a win, right? And so God says, so then Moses and Aaron, they go to the Lord. They're like, the people are crying out. He falls on his face. God's like, look, go out there and just take your staff and tap the rock twice, and water shall come. He comes out and he's like, am I supposed? And instead of saying what I believe he should have said in faith, in his commitment to his role, to lead the people, and coming out and saying like what he had done many times, the Lord who's delivered us out of Egypt, or the Lord who is our God, who is the Most High, whatever, shall provide for us right now water from this rock. He was more like, and shall the Lord provide for us water from this rock? Obviously the Lord did, because again, God is committed. So just because Moses' attitude changed doesn't mean that God's words changed, because the Bible literally says God is not a man that he shall lie. He's not a man that he shall lie. It's not going to change his mind, because he's committed again. But yeah, and so because of his attitude and how he spoke with the people and how he wasn't leading them in the way they needed to be led, God was like, and now y'all ain't gonna make it. Yeah, so that's why sometimes when you're like when we're all as Christians, trying so hard, wondering why things aren't happening for us and why the Lord isn't doing this and the Lord isn't doing that, because you're not prepared to suffer what you need to suffer for the cause. And long suffering, oh wait, guess what that is? Another one of the fruits of the Spirit. Galatians 5:22. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, faithfulness, gentleness. What is it? Faithfulness. Wait, self-control, long suffering, and faithfulness. I can't remember. Why can't I remember all 9? Anyways, when I'm feeling a bit better, I'll check them out. Anyway, so I just wanted to come on here to just kind of debrief before I go in with the other videos. It's also my way of combating the kingdom of darkness, of being like, you know what? You can't take me out, and you can't silence me, and you can't stop me. No matter what happens, I'll do my best and I'll push as hard as I can. You know what I mean? For the sake of the kingdom. For the sake of the kingdom. Because like I said, this is a group project. We all have to pull our weight. And a lot of times we suffer a little we suffer a little to gain a lot. Even if we suffered our entire lives on this planet, which is not God's will ever. Hello. Hence why he just created everything and then just told us to be fruitful and multiply and have a good time and just have a part. Okay, he didn't say to have a party the whole time, but that's what I'm saying. This wasn't his will for us to live like this. But the reason we're having to suffer for this is because we're all having to participate in cleaning up the mess of all the stuff that's happened because of ourselves as humans. But suffer for a little. Even if we suffered our whole lives, which we won't, on earth, we get to be with God eternity in heaven. It's the same thing I'm saying, like the gym thing. You going to the gym for 30 minutes to an hour and a half in the morning or at night, whenever you go, benefits you for the rest of your entire day. So is it not worth suffering in that small moment? And not only that, you suffering in that moment also benefits those around you because you're in a better healthy state, you're a better mental state, you're keeping your health, so the people you need to be around for, you can actually be around for them for a long time. Anyway, I'm going to stop because I feel like I need a break. But there's going to be good videos coming out today, I can't even lie to you. And on that note, if life's a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.